Hey everybody, it's me. I'm back. Just wanted to give you guys a update on everything that's going on with my dad. I've had a lot of people checking in on me, and I really, really appreciate that. It's made a huge difference just in my well-being, and just knowing that there's so many people who care about my situation. Thank you guys so much for all your support. So my dad is still in the hospital. He's still in the ICU. So I think it's been about three weeks or longer that he's been in the ICU. He is off of life support. He's breathing on his own, so that's good. His heart is doing much better. So I guess he had what's called an impella in his heart, and I'm sorry if you guys know how that's pronounced and I don't, and I sound like an idiot. But I guess what it is like some sort of a little thing that goes into your heart and then just helps your heart to pump blood. So he did have that removed. So that's good. That's good. His heart is on the mend. His kidneys are still pretty bad, and he is still on dialysis. He did continuous dialysis for a long time, for days actually. He was on dialysis, and now he's doing like intermittent dialysis. He's had so many problems. It's hard to keep them all straight. Sorry, cat hair. So now his biggest problem is that he has some internal bleeding. They think it's coming from his colon, but they're really not 100% sure. So I had to go home a couple weeks ago. A few days after my last video, I did have to go home because I had to go back to work. And then I went back out there to see him on my next days off. By that time, they had taken the breathing tube out, so he is now able to speak. And I got to witness kind of his mood. He's not in the best mood. He was really nice to me when I was there, and he was happy to see me. But he has what is called, I guess, ICU Delirium. Wherein when you're in the ICU for so long, it just really messes with your sleep schedule, because it's always going in there. They've got the lights on in there. There's always talking, and it's hard for him to. There's no curtains on the windows. It's hard for him to get back into like normal daytime, nighttime routine. So he's a little delirious with that. While I was there, the doctors were very concerned about his blood loss, and they wanted to do a surgery to remove part of his colon, which is dead. Part of his colon is dead. This is from, I guess, when his heart stopped. Like I said before, it shuts down your organs. So they wanted to remove a piece of it. He would have been on a colostomy bag, but it probably wouldn't have been a permanent thing. Probably would have been just a temporary thing. Well, he refused to have that done. And they brought in a psychologist to check him and make sure he's of sound mind, and they said he's of sound mind. You could have fooled me, because he was just being very, very difficult, very, very difficult about the whole thing. He said he's leaving. I'm leaving here. I'm leaving today. He can't even stand up. Like, he tried to get out of the bed about a week ago, and he just fell on his face, and all of his tubes, got pulled out of him. He can't go anywhere. And he needs extensive physical therapy. He is on a feeding tube, because he had several small strokes while he was in there. You see what I mean? It's just one thing after another with this guy. He had several small strokes and lost the ability to swallow. So they don't want him to, choke on food or water. So they put the feeding tube back in, and he's upset about that because he can't have any water. And he is just mad. He's just mad, and he wants out of there. And I don't blame him. But he was being a little bit difficult because, they had, I think, 4 doctors, 2 nurses, me, my stepmom, and my grandmother are all standing around his bed, telling him that he needs to stay, that he could die if this bleeding doesn't stop. And right now it doesn't look like it's going to. Like, it kind of goes up and down. Like, sometimes it slows down, and then it gets bad again. And with the dialysis, his blood is clotting, and it's causing him to have, like, some blood loss. And he can't have any blood loss because he can't have any blood. And it sucks. It just sucks. One of the first things he told me is that he's not going to drink anymore. And I was like, that's amazing. And I hope that he actually sticks to that. I think he will, but he's been in the hospital a long time. This obviously has been a shock. And when he gets home, he's going to be back in his, where he drinks, and it'll be really easy to fall back into his routine that he's been in for decades. So again, I hope, but I don't know. We'll have to see. So while I was out there, just this past time, a few days ago, I'm very tired, so I can't really talk, sorry. But he told the doctors that I heard him say, no blood, absolutely no blood. And while they were in there talking to him about having to remove a piece of his colon, they did mention again that the no blood thing would cause complications and cause issues. Because with everything that has happened to him, it's just this back and forth thing of his blood clotting and them thinning it out, and clotting and thinning it out, and anything to avoid him having to have blood. So he told all of us, fine, if I die, I die. Everyone has to die at some point, but I'm leaving. I'm out of here. Which was pretty upsetting because, my stepmom, her and me have had a lot of problems over the years, but I've been really impressed with just how dedicated to him she's been. She has been at the hospital with him every day, just every day. I went home and got a week off from that. Going to work felt like a vacation. And when I came back, she is still there, and she looks frazzled. She looks exhausted and frazzled. And I was just really upset with him for saying, I'm just going to go home, and if I die, I die. And I told him, how are you going to do that to your wife? You want to make her your nurse and then maybe die on her watch? Like, how could you can't do that to her. Look at everything she's done for you. Like, you've got to stay here. These people can help you. You just need to cooperate. You've got to cooperate. But he was just, he's upset, and who can blame him? He did end up staying, but I went ahead and went home the next morning. I was going to stay another day, but I couldn't stay. Plus there were a lot of new witnesses there, and a lot of them were just kind of snarky with me, and I guess I'm just over it at this. I couldn't even, the whole 10 days that I was out there before, I was pretty proud of myself. I put up with a lot. And I did it as well as I could. I really felt like I really felt like I did good. But this time I couldn't. I don't give a shit anymore. I'm sick of these people. Between the snarkiness of the witnesses, the friends from my dad's congregation, and I brought my boyfriend came with me this time. And he has never been a witness, not a witness. Has a beard, so the second people see him, they know that he's not a witness. I went into my dad's room at one point, and there was an HLC in there, the same one who's been there every single day. And he was the one that could barely be bothered to speak to me before, or look me in the eye or say my name. He's such an asshole. But now that my boyfriend is in there, he's all over me, saying my name, hey, how are ya? And then coming up to my boyfriend and trying to, yuck it up with him. And, oh my God, I was mad. I've never been so mad in my entire life. This whole situation has just infuriated me to no end. And if you're watching this, you are probably an ex-witness, and I know that you all know exactly why he was doing that. We all know that the reason he all of a sudden became, Mr. Friendly was because he wants my boyfriend to think that all the horrible things I've told him about the witnesses just aren't true because they're just so nice. If it's just me by myself, I can fuck off. But if this other person is here, well, we need to do everything we can to convert him over to Watchtower. So that was the other thing that just put me over the edge. So between my dad being very difficult. Oh, and by the way, speaking of beards, so my dad's been in there a while, and obviously he hasn't had a chance to shave. So he's getting a little beard himself. And I mentioned it to him when I was in there. I was like, hey, getting a little full in the beard area. And I asked if he wanted it shaved off, and he's like, no, I'm tired of looking like a Christian. I just want to let it grow for a while. And he said that right in front of my boyfriend, who does have a beard. Yeah, but that's the mentality. So I went home, and my dad's condition has continued to decline. And my poor stepmom is like, she's posting on this website where you can kind of give people updates on friends and family who are in the hospital. Instead of having to text, like 100 people every time there's an update, she can just put one post onto this site. So I read her posts, and I text her every day, and, I just kind of keep up on it. She's, 1 second it's up, and the next second it's down, and that's just the way it's been, and probably the way it's going to be for a really long time. Yesterday, she told me on the phone that she thinks that she's going to lose him. I still don't know. This blood thing could still come up. Before I left, I got down close to my dad, and I told him that there was nothing I wouldn't do to save him. I said, I am your daughter, and you are my dad, and there's nothing I wouldn't do to protect you. I said, do you know what I mean? And he said, yes. And he said, well, let's hope it doesn't come to that. But 10 minutes later, he's telling the doctors, no blood under no circumstances. So there's really nothing I can do about the blood thing. I tried. I gave my stepmom an alternative. She didn't want that alternative. And now my dad can talk and is apparently of sound mind. So I don't want to be out there and have to watch him die from not needing blood. So there's that. When I came home, the next day, my stepmom called me and put him on the phone. And I was having some issues with my phone. I couldn't get it off speakerphone because of she had called me through an app instead of just calling my phone number. So there was something weird about that. But I couldn't get the phone off speakerphone, and I told him that. I'm like, hey, I can't get it off speakerphone, but whatever, go ahead and let's talk. My dad said a lot of really, really weird and inappropriate things. And what the significance of the speakerphone is that my boyfriend was sitting right here with me, and he could hear everything my dad was saying. my dad told me that my mom's family was not a bunch of beauty queens or good looking, but I turned out all right, which I found really offensive. And then he told me that I had a hot body. Yeah. If you're wondering if he's high on medication, he's not. He's not. He is delirious, but it really, really upset me. And you know what? This is not new. This kind of thing where it's all about appearances. And I mean, that man doesn't know me at all. He hasn't known me since I was 12 years old. He doesn't know anything about me. And it really doesn't matter. He just wants me to look good because it makes him look good. I hope that doesn't sound awful or like I'm trying to badmouth someone who's in a really bad, painful position. Because I'm kind of going through some emotions about it, about being very angry with him and feeling like, you know what, I walked away for a good reason, and you are proving to me right now that my reasons for cutting you off were good reasons. I am gonna try to be there for him, but I have to do it from a distance, because now that he can talk again, he is just making things much, much harder for me. And you know what, there I feel bad again, because this isn't about me. It's really not about me. The situation sucks for him, and I want to try to be as mature and kind and understanding as I can. But this whole thing of, you turned out okay, even though you come from, bad stock and you have a hot body, which is weird, just a weird thing to say to your daughter. This is totally in character for him. I'm not surprised that he said those things. It was upsetting because, I'm sitting here with my boyfriend. He hears it and looks at me like, what is wrong with your family? And that sometimes is what it takes to show you that something is wrong, is when an outsider looks at it and says, that's messed up. So I spoke to my stepmom again after that, just privately, and I told her that I am so fortunate that she is here taking care of him, because she's kind of keeping me from having to do it. Because if it was just him and me in there, we would have killed each other by now. Because we fight like cats and dogs, and I'm just so grateful to her for being there for him. And I'm starting to see now that maybe he hasn't been very good to her. They've been married for a little over 20 years, and maybe he has not been the best husband. And I'm starting to have some sympathy for her in that, because I know what a monster he can be. So I told her that I was just going to be here for her. And I would support her emotionally, mentally, physically, financially, anything she needs. She can come to me, and I will do everything I can to help her, because I'm so lucky that she is taking care of this man, because it's not an easy thing to do. So that's kind of my update. I'm not out there right now. I am working right now, so someone's gotta make that money. And I don't know if I have if I can go back. I really need to take care of myself, because it's just ripping me down to be in the room with him while he is making racial, remarks. He's so bigoted. I can't believe this man is an elder. I still can't believe that this man is an elder over women and children in his congregation, and the things that come out of his mouth are just deplorable. It really bothers me. He says a lot of racist things, and he says a lot of sexual things about his kid. It's horrifying. It is horrifying. And watching the dynamic between him and my stepmother also makes me feel like he is just very, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of a chauvinist towards her. And again, she is no angel. Okay, I've known her almost my whole life, and she has plenty of skeletons in her closet, but she has tried to help him for years, and he treats her not very nice. So I'm horrified. I'm horrified by the whole thing. So that's it. Only 20 minutes. Awesome. I can't believe I said everything I wanted to say in 20 minutes. Thanks again, you guys, for everything. I'll keep you posted. Again, I don't know if I can go back out there. I may need to be heavily sedated myself if I go, but I'll continue to let you guys know what's going on with him. And thank you so much for watching my video. Have a good day.